All right. Welcome back, everyone. We're live with another episode of Tuesday Tips and Tricks. I'm your host, Max at WeVideo, and as always, we have another great episode lined up for everyone. Welcoming our viewers from Twitter today. We're also live on YouTube and Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, as well as hit the bell in the top right corner so you get a notification every time a new WeVideo video is released. We also have our Tuesday Tips and Tricks landing page where you can go and see any of our previous episodes, as well as subscribe to get email notifications each week when a new episode comes out. All right, so we got a really action-packed episode lined up for you today, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. We bring on our co-host, Tyler Wall.
Good morning, Max. Good morning, viewers. Happy Tuesday once again.
Happy Tuesday. So quick rundown of how today's going to go. We're going to follow a similar kind of path as we did last week. We're going to show our featured video of the week first, because that kind of gives a nice segue to who our special guests we had. We'll post the link of that full interview that we have after that, as well as show a segment, about like 7 minutes, I believe, of how that interview went. And then we will get back into the editor and show you how to do some cool stuff with text overlays, as well as a couple other questions that we had come throughout the week. Very active week so far. So with that, let me go ahead and share my screen to show this week's featured video of the week.
Great. Sounds good. And while Max is pulling that up, for anyone tuning in right now, be sure to fire off any questions you have regarding editing, WeVideo, and we'll be sure to get to those by the end of the episode.
Yeah, so quick background before I hit play. I'm going to go and do about a 1 minute at the beginning here, and then fast forward towards the middle to show a little bit of animation that she did that she talks about in our interview.
Hello. Thank you for taking the time to view this video before your appointment. It will help us to be on the same page when you're here, and so that we can get right to the business of giving you the curly cut you've dreamed of. Let's get right into it. But before we do, I'd like you to take a moment and grab the products from your shower that you're currently using right now. This includes shampoo, conditioner, and any styling aids that you regularly use. Go ahead and pause the video so that you can grab those. I'll just wait for you right here.
Some nice little stock here. This is probably a good time to switch.
Okay.
So later in the video, let me go a little further back.
Conditioners is that they contain silicone. Silicone is a liquid plastic that builds up on the hair with repeated use. Now, if plastic is built up on the hair, it becomes a barrier that makes water bounce off. It does not allow water into the hair, so the curls are not getting fully hydrated to begin with.
Awesome animation there.
Come out with regular washing. So most new clients come in with layers of silicone on their hair that need to be removed before we can get great curls. When you come for your haircut,
one more stock.
Detox to remove any silicone.
Actually, I think this is filmed.
On your hair.
Yeah, it could be.
Guarantee your best curls.
She uses a lot of great stock, and I know she talks a little bit more about her process with the stock too. So we'll get some more insight soon. But
say silicone.
Yeah, all right. It's probably a good spot to stop. So yeah, a little background. Our special guest today, and we'll be showing our little excerpt in just a moment, is Yukiko Taylor, who works at a hair salon, special treatment for curly hair. I would probably visit if it were nearby. She's up in Washington. And as you might expect, hair salons were one of the many businesses that were affected particularly harshly with COVID restrictions. And after kind of getting protocol in place, they were able to open at a limited capacity. I think 25% is what she had said, what the normal is, and operate at that smaller but still functioning capacity. And so in her business, as she explains, time is money. And normally when they're doing a treatment, it could be like a 3-hour ordeal, and there'll be a portion of that, like a half hour to an hour, where their hair dye is setting in or something, where they would otherwise just have the patient waiting. And
Right.
while they're doing that, go and work with another patient. Because they're operating at a limited capacity, they can't have multiple patients in at a time. So Yukiko used video to basically try and speed up as much of their overall routine process as they could, so that people who came in could get as much done beforehand, so that when they were actually in the salon, things would go smoother. So this video was designed to help all the new customers who were coming prep beforehand. And it, as she said, probably took about a half hour off of what they would normally do when they came in, which translates directly to revenue.
Right.
And the cool thing is, now that these videos are made, once things do go back to normal, that half hour is still saved.
Mm-hmm.
So good effort in the long run.
And she gets some great marketing materials that she can use for her social media and different things along those lines too.
Exactly. And as you'll see kind of in our next excerpt here, she really uses text to its full capabilities in her video. And as you saw there as well, she's animating the text, she's using motion titles, and she's using subtitles. So with that, let's go ahead and play our excerpt.
Some of the fun stuff that we use. Oh, it's just being kind of jumpy. Sorry, my internet's not the best.
Okay, no worries.
So I use this pause button and
a lot of text overlay. Love it.
yes, I do use I do my own subtitles, and that is because we have several deaf clients. And a long time ago, when I did a live Facebook video, one of them commented, subtitles would be nice. I don't understand what you're saying. And so from there on, I made it a point to do the subtitles, and I found a really good workflow that works for me. I don't know how to do automatic programmed subtitles, but the way that I do it is if it's a live video, I just type and do my transcribe. So I transcribe it first into a document.
Okay.
And then once I have the whole video done, then I go in and drop in my subtitles. And so I found a really good workflow that makes it go so much faster. And this video was the first video I used a teleprompter app on my tablet. So that helped it to go a little bit more smoothly and way quicker. And so obviously I have this lady in the shower, and so many of these, a lot of times I'll even create a video. I'll be wondering, oh, what can I create? And maybe there's something out there that in the stock media that can give me a good idea for just a promo. And I have one I could show you that I had in mind. It's pretty funny. It's like I said, I'm all about the funny stuff. And sometimes I totally get it, but I'll show my family and they'll be like, what does that even mean? So sometimes I have to go back to the drawing board. But but this was a pretty neat sequence that I used to illustrate.
On the hair, it becomes a barrier that makes water bounce off. It does not.
And it's actually more smooth than what you're seeing.
Not getting fully hydrated.
But the water word stays on the balloon, and it was an animation that I was able to do. And I felt like that was a win. The only thing I was wishing that we could have would be this looks like it. I want it to look like it's laying down on a table, and I couldn't figure out how to do that. But that's
I
one
see.
thing. Yeah, so it looks like the balloon is bouncing off of those words.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, kind of like some 3D text.
yeah. And I suppose I could have done that online in another program, but you know, with doing this video, it was so long that I was just kind of done by that point.
And
But
does this having this video beforehand and sending to clientele, does this speed up your process?
yeah, that was the purpose of it. And so that when they do come in, they're already familiar, and so we can skip some of it and really get to the nitty gritty of what they're using in their hair. So yeah, and that way, you know, the point was to accelerate the service, which normally takes 2 hours, and we wanted to accelerate it to about an hour and a half.
Okay.
And because during the pandemic, we're limited to one stylist per client or one client per stylist at a time. We're at a 25% capacity. In our industry, we usually are, you know, if someone's processing their color, we have another haircut that we're doing during that empty time while they're just sitting there. And time is money in our industry. And since we can't have someone sitting there, you know, it's costing us, you know, a lot. And
right.
So hopefully by accelerating, you know, the new client appointment, which we have, you know, a lot of, we are just buying ourselves more client base.
And it seems like this practice of having the video beforehand is something that you can continue to use even when you're able to operate at full capacity and still save time. So
right. Yeah.
So good investment either way.
We also, during the shutdown last year, we were shut down for about, I want to say, we were shut down from March 17th to May 31st. And so I wanted to let clients know that we were doing virtual consultations, and also that we were having product pickup available. So that really helped. And that's the other silly one I wanted to show you. Can I show that real quick?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay. I was looking for elevator music.
Love it. And you get pretty good engagement with these on social media?
We do, yeah. Yeah, that's yeah. And so people, that's what they do, is they're like, oh yeah, that reminded me, I need to, you know, I'm almost out of conditioner. Let me just call and get that set up. And I was doing porch pickup. I moved all of my retail operations and was doing that from home. So people would come and pick it up off of my porch, and that worked really well. So, but I, you know, sometimes I'm just like, oh, I really need to create a video. And I start brainstorming and just kind of looking through what's available in the stock media. And then it just gets my creative, you know, flow going. And so that's been, you know, super fun. You know, since I upgraded my membership to the stock videos, I feel like I, you know, have done so much better as far as my capabilities and things like that. Totally worth it. I've really enjoyed that.
All right. So that was Yukiko, everyone.
Great interview.
Everyone to check that out. We'll paste the full link. Sorry, the link to the full video here. Oh, looks like it's in the comments now. Awesome. So one of the things that she goes over a lot and does a good job showing is her use of text overlays. So we're going to go ahead and hop in the editor now to show you guys how to use that. And the cool ways you can kind of just take your videos up a notch by using text.
Awesome. Yeah, let's hop right into WeVideo and go over some of these effects, text overlays that we saw in her videos. So you can see here on the timeline, I've got quite a few tracks. We'll go over a little bit subtitles. I know that was something that was brought up in the interview. And then you can see here we have a few text overlays. So we will show you guys how to make that as well. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and fire those off.
Perfect.
All right, so let's go ahead and start with the text overlays. This is the meat and potatoes of our demo today. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this background here. And
Or
then
actually,
we'll just,
wait, Tyler, let's just show the.
oh yeah,
Let's
let's
just show,
preview it first. Good,
Yep.
good call. I will expand this a bit. All right, we don't have audio on this for you right now, but that's part of the reason we got text. Helps with the view.
So yeah, I'm just saying that we'll be showing you how to use text overlays, and to do that, we'll be going over how to use solid backgrounds, static text, and animation.
Yeah, didn't complete these subtitles, but part of the reason we want to show you that process a little bit later, so we'll fill that out in a second. Yeah, you can see a couple things happening here. We've got this background animating in. Let me zoom in, I'll show you. So this little box here is actually animating, sliding over. Then we have our text. If you click on this opacity, you can see it's fading in. And then our background is staying static. So we have this static background.
Yeah, so
And
that's
then,
probably kind of important to point out is you have that cut right there at the beginning, Tyler,
right.
to show there's like the brief fade in of the rectangle, the solid background, and then we just want it to stay there for a bit. So you cut it, and
Yep.
there's no animation applied to that second bit. And then once the text is all finished,
It will animate out again. So you have this other small animation happening here. So real quickly, we can recreate this and show you the whole process from scratch. I'm going to delete our background. We'll leave the text overlays here because it lines up with Max's audio. So that's another step, is just getting your static text. I can delete the first one so we can show you how to do the first one. And then these other ones are the same process.
cool.
All right, so first thing you're going to want to do is get your background in there. So if you go up to our tab here, labeled backgrounds, we'll go over to solids, and we have some different color options here. We used white because it fit the color scheme of this shot, but let's go ahead and use blue for our demo just to switch it up a bit. All right, so the background is covering our whole shot, not what we want.
Nope.
Let's go ahead and double click in or hit our pencil icon. I'll zoom in a bit. A little too much. All right, so double click into our clip editor. And then we have full control of this background. So you can see when I click over here in my preview, I can move it around wherever I like. I can even scale it down, flip it, do a lot of different things with this background, but for our purposes, we just want it to be kind of over here on the side, providing a background for our text. So let's go ahead and find the position that we like, zero out that Y, and then we want to remember this X coordinate because that is the end point that we want our animation to hit, and we want these all to line up. So right now we're just creating that first one, the static background that the animation will land on. All right, so once you have this where you like it, go ahead and save those changes. And this background will be our static. All right, so I'm going to duplicate this. If you click on your clip, hold shift, drag it over to an open spot, and we can trim to fit. We actually will go over this a little bit too.
Yeah.
Trim to fit. So now we have an exact duplicate. This is just that rectangle, as you can see, and it's still in that same location we want, which is great. I'm going to slide this over, and this is going to serve as our animation. So this can be a lot smaller, and we can play around with the timing of this in a sec once we set our animation. So double click into your clip editor, hit the animation tab. Our start point and end point are the same at this point in time. We want our start point to be off screen. So just go ahead and drag this guy over till it's off screen. And then our endpoint should still be that same X coordinate that we had set before, right?
Yep.
If this gets, messed up at all, no worries. Just we copied that X coordinate earlier, so I can paste that in and just zero out the Y. Just, remember that endpoint is going to be crucial in this effect. You want it to be the same as your static point. So that's the biggest thing to take away here. So start and end. You can even preview your animation in this window here. And you can see our slide happening. Save those changes. With any animation, we can change the timing of it by adjusting the size of this clip. So you can see when I pull this way, it's going to be a very slow animation. Not quite what we want for our effect. We're going to slim this down. Got that nice quick animation happening now. All right, real quick, let's put in our text. Go up to your text tab. We're going to use static text for this. So just use this basic text.
Yep. And then one thing to point out is to do this kind of sequence of events here with the animation, the static text, the solid backgrounds, all of this can be done on the free plan.
Oh, yeah. Great point. Yeah, I mean, we can get creative with this. If you do have a plan with motion titles, it's an option to put them over here. But for this effect, you can use it in free and still get very professional looking videos.
Yeah.
All right, so now we've got our static text. We want it to fit into our background. So I'm just going to size it down a bit. And white actually looks better on that blue, so we might adjust our other text, which is currently black, I believe. But you can see here we have all these options. I can change the color of my text. I can change the font. I can do a lot of different things. Oop. Just having a hard time I deleted. Huh. All right, so I actually forget what our first
solid background.
Solid backgrounds. There we go. And let's actually make this centered. I'll bring it down a bit. And just adjust till you get it, nice and centered there. And let's save those changes.
Sweet.
Yeah, so for this, we just applied a quick little fade in. Hopefully I'm not going too fast, but we do have a lot we want to go over today. So
yep, and to do that, you clicked the little line segment icon there.
Yep. And then you can create keyframes by just clicking on this green line.
And then let's say I want to remove one.
Double click and it's gone.
Perfect.
So yeah, this is just a quick fade. There's other ways to go about creating that fade. You can actually, type it in here by clicking that line and selecting how long you want your fade in or out to be, or just use the keyframe dots. Cool. So now we have our animation sliding in and our text fading in. So it's a nice little effect that's happening. And it really brings our eyes directly to that text, which is what we're going for.
Yeah, it's great if you have like a bullet point list you want to do, or if just emphasize a key point like we did here. It's a nice touch.
Correct. Cool. So for our effect, we actually had this animate out too. I don't know if we need to necessarily go over that. I can quickly. It's basically just going to be the reverse.
Okay, yeah, unless someone in the comments lets us know.
Yeah. But essentially, you're going to do that same thing, just animating it the opposite way. So start here and over here.
Perfect.
And then we have this slide out.
Nice and clean.
Yeah, so it's a great way to bring attention to some text that you, like Max said, need to bring up, like a bullet list, or you could even do subtitles this way if you really wanted. It's an option.
Yeah, so let's do a quick demo of how to do subtitles. So Yukiko uses them, which can be a bit of a process depending on how long your video is, but it's a nice add. However, she has a couple clients who are deaf, so it was essentially a requirement. And yeah, once you do it and you kind of get in the process of it, it's really easy to get in a nice workflow.
Yeah, this is something that comes up quite often. I know people want to have an automated way of doing this. There are some other softwares out there that we've brought up in past shows that can help with that, but it's also easy to do it by yourself. It's not, it doesn't take too much time, especially if it's a quick video. So you can see in our static text, we actually have a couple subtitle pre-made options. And like our other static text, all you have to do is bring this in. You can see it's got the sample there. And what I like to do is play Max's clip and then just slowly time the text to go with what he's actually saying. So as soon as he gets onto the next word, we're going to switch. So double click in. And then you just type out what he's saying in the short clip. Depending on the length, we can adjust that later.
Yep. And then the key to remember is to obviously save and then cut once I move on to a new sentence.
Yep. So you can't quite hear what he's saying, but I can. And then as soon as he gets onto the next word, just hold shift, click the text rather, and then continue the process down the line. You can make these longer if you like. I prefer to have it pop up as he's talking.
Yeah.
So typically it's going to be a little bit shorter sentences.
Yeah, you will want to have a dedicated video track for this, and that track will likely probably be your topmost or one of their top tracks, depending on whether or not you have like a logo on there as well.
Yeah. And a quick tip here, you can actually go ahead and name your tracks over here if that helps you organize. It's a good way to do it. Yeah, awesome. But that's the basic process of subtitling. So just keep going down the line and adjust as you need be to line up with what's actually being said on camera. These are easily trimmed or moved around.
Yeah. So speaking of trimming and moving around, nice little segue here. Yep. Big popular question that we had this week was about moving. Let's say you're working on a video and you've got a clip that you want to put right in the middle and you want everything else to get moved down. We're going to quickly go over how you would do that, as well as there's a feature that we have now where if you take one clip and you drag it onto your track and it's over another clip, it'll give you the option to either trim to fit, or I think the option is to push it forget what the actual verbiage is
push.
there. Yeah. And that will push just that one clip to the right to make room for the new clip you're putting in there.
Right. Yeah, so I think there's a mix of questions that was coming up. We'll show you, kind of the best practices to move around a lot of clips at once, and how to get a clip into a project that's, like this, got a lot of tracks already, and we want to add something else in. So let's go ahead and get into our stock media library, and we'll just show you some of the options. So let's say we wanted to bring this clip to the beginning of our edit, but we have all this other stuff already here. So you can see when I drag this clip in over another clip, it turns yellow. The border of the clip is actually going to indicate a lot of things for us. So when it's red, that means we can't put this there. If you try and put a video clip on an audio clip, it'll turn red, vice versa with the audio to video. And if you try and put it over another clip, you can see it turns yellow. So if I drop that down, I have the option to replace, trim to fit, which is grayed out. This doesn't work in this instance, or insert and push. So let's just go over all three of these. Replacing will actually delete that max clip and replace it with this clip. So I guess there are instances where you want to get rid of something, replace it with a different shot. That's when you would use that.
That's actually great for if you're using one of our pre-made templates.
Yeah, same idea as a template. Insert and push is basically going to bring this clip to the beginning and push our max clip forward to make room. So you can see that's what it did there. And the last one would be trim to fit. So let's say I had some space. I'll cut this. Let's say I had some space right here and I needed to fill it up with a different clip. If I bring this in, I can trim to fit. The clip is actually bigger than the available space, but WeVideo will trim that up and fill the gap. So that's basically what trim to fit is going to be. And there's lots of different instances where we could use all three of these options. I think the main question in our group was the push, right?
Yeah.
Insert and push. So let's say we wanted to insert and push this. One of the things that kept coming up was, well, these clips didn't move too, which is an easy fix. You just highlight all three of these and bring them over. Or another quick way to move a lot of clips at once is just Command A on Mac, and you could drag everything within your timeline there.
Yeah, and I think if you I'm pretty sure you can do this, right? If you have selected everything and you want to deselect something, it's hold Shift or hold Control that allows you to just deselect that one thing.
I usually just click off into this gray space. That'll deselect. Good question. Hold Shift. Let's see. I'm not sure
if you have multiple selected and you only want one of them.
I'm not sure. We'd have to look into it.
We'll experiment that.
I do know on Mac though, if you want to select a couple clips, you can use Shift to select two at a time, or vice versa. You could use
that's
Command. You could use Command to select a couple. So if I just wanted to select, this title, Max's clip, and this one, then I could move all three of those like that. And I'm just using Command on Mac. I think that's Control on Windows.
I think it's Control, yeah.
Or, yeah, I'd have to check. Mac user here. Okay, so those are the basics with insert and push. Hopefully that answered some of the questions. But yeah, definitely take advantage of that feature. It's a good one for moving things quickly within your timeline.
Awesome. So a little bit on the longer side for episodes this week, but hope you all enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's like we don't have any more questions related to that, so that's good. But if you do, just let us know in the comments, and we'll get to them next week. Speaking of next week, we have another special guest next week, one that I'm very excited about. For all of our kind of coaches out there, athletic trainers, we'll be bringing on Coach Al, who's a longtime WeVideo user and has, I think, over 400 videos at this point. Has completely made a business out of it with personal training, as well as just promotional stuff and fun, creative stuff. So be sure to join us next week. It's going to be a great episode. I'm really excited for it. And if there's no more questions coming in the chat, then I'll call that a wrap. Thanks for joining, everyone, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.